Okay, I'm Michael Pinter, and this is the Wholesaling and Flipping in New York show, where I teach you how to start wholesaling or flipping houses in New York, or if you have a business, how to grow your business. Um, Today's topic was a little complicated, so I had to make some notes. And I could probably talk about this for an hour, but I am going to try and keep this to under 10 minutes, as I always do. So, first of all, a couple things. I had a great week this week. Really, the power of follow up is what I want to focus on. Um, I have not been marketing that much for the last few months when COVID was shutting things down, but I have a bunch of leads in my pipeline, and I have been calling them, and people have been calling me back. Someone called me yesterday, said I had them as a dead lead. They said they weren't interested in selling, and they called me yesterday, and they said I got to get out of New York, and made an offer, and I think it might work. So it's been a great week. I locked up a bunch of deals, and really without spending a lot of money. So that's always great. Um, Also, I want to talk about search engine optimization. I got a lead yesterday, an appointment from someone who found me online. So if you have the ability to spend some money on SEO, search engine optimization, where people can find you if they're looking for you, I think it really pays off. I'm doing a deal now. I should make about 60, 70 grand on it. She found me online, and that was it. Um, Also, joint venturing, working with other people. So I have a lot of people who come to me, they don't know if they have a deal, and I help them with a deal. And if that's a situation where you're concerned about, I'm not going to know what a deal is, but you want to actually do the marketing, we can partner up. And I've done it a bunch of times where people have given me the deal, we've wholesaled the deal, and we split the profits. If I have to close on it, it might not be a 50-50 split, but if it's a wholesale deal, it's a 50-50 split. And I'm happy to do deals with anybody who wants to do the marketing for me. Um, Today's topic is doing deals in New York without an attorney. Now, that's a very broad statement. So first, let's talk about, you always need an attorney. You should always be represented, right? They say you're not really in business till you get sued, and I've been sued. And you need to use an attorney who's good and who you feel, if things get hairy, that is going to be able to be good for you and is going to be able to stand up in court for you. Like I remember I was using an accountant once, and the guy was just a moron, and I said, if I ever get audited and this guy has to go in front of me with the IRS, I'm screwed. So you need to use somebody who you feel comfortable that if everything goes wrong is going to be there for you. So you need a good attorney. I have some good attorneys. Wherever you are in New York, I can probably recommend a good attorney for you. If you're interested, put a comment below. I'll be happy to tell you. Um, but the real question is whether the seller is going to use an attorney, right? Because in all 49 states besides New York, a real estate transaction happens when a buyer goes to a seller, says, I like to buy your property. Here's a contract. Seller says, okay. And attorneys don't get involved. But in New York, the only state in the country where it works this way, the contract gets prepared by the seller's attorney. So I always dreamed, right, of this utopia. I got to check my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. I always dreamed of this utopia where we can avoid this, right? Where we can get around doing deals with attorneys, and where we could do it the way every other guru on the internet teaches you. Just go sit on the table. If they agree to the price, just put a contract over with a check for $50 that they're not going to cash. It's just not how it works in New York. So I dreamed of this situation, and you got to be careful of what you hope for, because last year I had two situations where the sellers were adamant about not using attorneys. They just said, we don't want to use them. So a couple of things. First of all, you need them to sign a very strongly worded affidavit that says that they understand that they are not being represented. Because really, if everything goes bad and you assign a contract or something goes crazy, they want to sue you. If they weren't represented by an attorney, they might have a case, because it's just not typical. It happens almost never. So that's the first part. But the second part is, I thought this would be so easy. And the problem is, and I thought, wow, maybe I could integrate my systems in place where I would tell them that they don't need an attorney, and I have them sign this affidavit on every deal. There's a few problems with that. The first problem is that most people are never going to go for that, right? Because they used an attorney when they bought it. If they ask anyone, they're going to tell them they need an attorney. It's just not going to work. But let's just say a certain percentage of your deals could work that way. What happened in my situation, I had two deals. And one, they told me, it was a brother and a sister, and they told me that they want all the proceeds 50-50. Now, the way transactions work in New York is the seller's attorney plays a role. There's certain things the seller's attorney is responsible for. And I'm going to tell you a couple of them now, which fell on me in this situation. So the first one was what I just told you, that they give a checklist, a list of checks that how they want the proceeds before the closing to the other attorneys. Now remember, on a lot of deals, even a wholesale deal, there could be 4 attorneys. There's the seller's attorney, there's my attorney, there's the buyer's attorney, and if he's getting financing, there's a lender's attorney. So the seller's attorney plays a role. He will give them a list of checks, how he wants the proceeds. They got to the closing, and there was only one check, and they were furious because they assumed that I remembered that. And I don't remember. It was months before the closing that they told me that, but that's something that would have fallen on the seller's attorney. That fell on me, and she yelled at me, and it was a whole. It was a stupid thing, right? It seems like a simple thing, but it was important to them. That's something that a seller's attorney does. In another situation, they inherited the borrower inherited the property and they need a death certificate. So there are all kinds of title issues that show up on a deal. All those things getting clear are the seller's attorney's responsibility to clear. They could be simple things, payoff letters. They could be death certificates if somebody died, trust documents, all kinds of things that come up. They come up everywhere. And you know, in other states, the title company will work to get those things. But in New York, there's a seller's attorney who does that. So in one situation, in another deal that closed, I had to run the day before the closing and get death certificates, original death certificates, to show to the title company. So these are things that fall on you. Now you may say it's a small price to pay, but these are things that they're not systemized, if someone's not in there, I don't have a transaction coordinator who's going to do that. It's difficult, and I don't want to do that. So this dream of closing deals without an attorney in New York is problematic on a few levels. Number one, it's not going to happen for a lot of people. It's just never going to happen for a lot of sellers. Number two, because they have an attorney, they know they need an attorney. Number two, there are a lot of tasks that usually are done by seller's attorneys that are going to fall on you as the assigner or the buyer. And number three, I think it's problematic if the deal just goes bad and then it goes to any kind of litigation, because if they're not represented, they're going to then get represented by a litigator, and who's going to have a very strong case that you try to screw them over by not having them represented, even if they the ones who brought it up. So it seems like a wonderful dream, but from my experience, it's not great. And I always think of, if I want to change the system, what happens if everything goes to hell? And in this case, if everything goes to hell, I think you're going to be in trouble. So I would say you have to accept the fact that in New York, sellers going to be represented. You can certainly recommend a few attorneys to them if they don't have one. I find the vast majority, over 90%, maybe 95%, are ready to have an attorney, because most of these people bought the house and used an attorney when they did. Even if that attorney's dead, even if that attorney was bad, they still know the concept and can ask their friends for who a real estate attorney is. So my thoughts on closing deals without an attorney are, it's not what you think it is, right? It could be a problem if things go bad. You're never going to be able to convince everyone not to do it. And a lot of things are going to fall on you. And if you don't have somebody full-time doing transaction coordination, then it's going to fall on you, and things are going to get screwed up right before the closing, which is always what everybody wants to avoid, what I really want to avoid. So those are my thoughts. Just to recap, I guess that was a recap. So again, if you like these videos, please click like. That really helps me for my search engine optimization. I spoke about SEO before. Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Go to howtoflipnewyork.com to find out other ways that I can help you. If you're watching on Facebook, look up for those ways. Look below on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe. Thank you very much for comments. These all are coming by request. I was very happy. I got a bunch of requests. I got to be honest, I've run out of topics to talk about. So anything you want me to talk about, put in a request below in a comment, and I'll talk about it pretty quickly. So thank you very much for your requests. Thank you for watching me. I'm going to put the end here.